I am Feel It.
And I am Fix It. And we talk about life.
And stuff and things.
With the occasional rant.
Which you will have no problem doing.
Hello. Good morning. Good afternoon. Good evening. Good night. Whatever it is where you're at right now, hope you're having a good one.
Yes. What he said.
Yes. One of those.
Hmm.
Thought it'd be a little more mellow today.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Not so, like, crappy 80s DJ.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You
It's
did
not
a
as
good
mu-
job taking
Not,
it down.
not nearly as much fun.
You took
It's
a good
pretty
job.
entertaining
You
doing
did
that
a
voice.
good job taking that down.
I don't get to break out that voice anymore. I don't answer phones, so
Well, you know.
it was always fun using that to answer phones. Confuse the crap out of people. But it worked, you know.
We are on it was blue skies earlier, so now a dreary looking January afternoon.
Yeah, it's still pretty bright out, though. And it has warmed up a little bit, which is also a plus. We're now above freezing, I
Just
think.
above.
Just.
Like,
yeah,
has
you
to
know,
be just.
it's a degree or two above freezing, but hey, well, there we are.
Not 60 below, as I forget which state saw this week.
Yeah, not us, thankfully.
Or the well below that we saw earlier this week.
Oh yeah, we were in the negatives.
Mhm.
And I haven't looked at the demographics, but I'm pretty sure we're only have anybody in North America. You know, I don't think we have any out of country individuals that are dealing with Celsius, but
Stop. That's confusing.
yeah, but still, you know, like -5 and then wind chill is really freaking cold. It was
Very
really,
cold.
really very cold.
Lots of schools closed.
Yep.
Various businesses.
Oh, a lot of them.
It was a rough few days.
Mine will, I have no doubt, will ever close because of the weather. Just, I've seen that happen. This was up north. I got to work and found out that they closed the plant because the weather was so bad.
It was that bad.
Yep.
That's rare.
After I drove 30 miles to get there, nobody realized that they didn't call me.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Those things can happen. Small company, small shift.
Yeah, except you know everybody. There's only, a handful of you, and yet nobody thought to call.
Yeah. I
Like,
can see
oh,
that.
I see how it is. All right.
Sure. May or may not have been intentional. Who knows? Before the days of cell phone,
This is true. This is true.
if I remember correctly.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well before.
Well before they were commonplace.
Say mainstream.
Yep.
So quite expensive.
Yeah. I still kind of miss that old bag phone. That was.
Did you had that bag phone?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe in the woods and still get signal.
Cost a little bit of money, but you had that bag phone.
Yep. It was handy. Worked really good.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And then we've had the same number that I started in a plan through my employer at the time.
Yep.
Oh my goodness, how many years ago? Well over 20. So I've had that number for a long time.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Mhm.
Long time. It's convenient, though.
Yep.
Well, I didn't have your number. Yeah, you do.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, you do.
Hasn't changed.
Not at all.
I forgot what I was going to say.
I have no idea. No clue.
It was there and it was gone. It's just been that kind of a day already.
That happens to me a lot.
I have a lot of things I need to do, and it's prioritizing them, and my brain's just not in a place to even put a lot of effort in.
Sure.
It's in a minimum effort mode.
Sure. I can appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good place to be once in a while.
I'm not choosing it. It's just kind of happening.
Well, you got to take advantage when you can.
I
So,
guess.
some days you just need to take a breather.
I guess.
Well, there's
You can't even talk.
there's a concept in the maintenance world. You either schedule maintenance or maintenance schedules itself.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair.
And you could be in one of those times where your brain's just saying, no, you need a day off. Or at least you need half a day off. You need to calm down, drink some cocoa and watch a dumb movie and recharge your batteries a little
And I sure am drinking some cocoa right now. Doing this, not watching a dumb movie.
No, but we were planning before we came in here, so.
Well, timing.
Yes.
You made plans to go with our daughters to Barnes & Noble.
Yeah.
So you need to do that. And it was...
Yep.
Do this.
To be fair...
See what we have time for.
It was... Our oldest, actually, is like, do you want to do this? Yes, let's do this. We've only been talking about it for 2 years, over 2 years. It's like they got a gift card 2 Christmases back.
Yeah, 2 Christmases ago.
For Barnes and Noble. And, yeah.
Use it.
Let's go use it. It's not a lot, but, I told him then, it's not a lot, but, hard to say what you're going to spend it on. I'll go with you and I'll make up the difference. I don't care. I'm good with that. My kids want to buy books. I will happily buy you books. I love books.
I'm not sure if she's looking for something in particular, but...
Don't know. Do not know.
That's okay.
Exactly. And
it's not that we don't have 2 Barnes & Nobles within...
Nope. Yes, which is cool.
15 minutes.
And, you can get things cheaper online somewhere. Almost always.
Take advantage frequently.
But that's when you know exactly what you're looking for. There's something about just getting in, going to a place and then putting your hands on stuff. And, it's like, if you order it online, the one you get, you're probably going to keep unless it's just like absolutely terrible. And then you might send it back and try a different one. But there's something to be said about going in and putting your hands on a half dozen different versions of the same thing. Or just looking around and seeing what catches your interest. And then taking a look at it and kind of, it's like, you're going to pay a little bit more for that. But to me, it's still worth it in a lot, especially certain things. Clothes, shoes in particular. It's like, no, you want to get your hands on them.
Yeah, sometimes. I don't know. I was looking at a hoodie and I was like, I'm pretty sure it's not really going to look as good as this picture does.
Oh, probably not. But the other certain hoodies don't have to fit that great. It's a hoodie. It's not even touching your skin most of the time.
Yeah.
It's over the top of something. You just need it big enough to fit over the top of stuff. But I mean, like, yeah, okay, it's more so with women's clothes, I think, than guys' clothes. But sizes don't make any sense. And no company, it's like, I don't care. Size 10. Let's just say a size 10. Whatever. You get from 6 different manufacturers and it's going to be 6 different sizes. Doesn't make any dang sense.
It's true.
I was like, yeah, go to the store, go pawn it. And then, variations in how they make stuff might fit your body better than another. And you don't know until you get your hands on them. Well, it's a lot easier to go to a store that carries 10 different manufacturers and 100 different sizes, and you could actually find the one that works for you. You can guess online, but you're going to be sending a lot of crap back that just don't work. That's too much hassle.
Frustrating.
Go to the store, spend the extra $5 once.
To know fits.
And then know exactly that one. These jeans from this manufacturer in this size fits perfect.
Of course, I'm not just going to find this just anywhere. I believe I sent it to the family text. Very, very infrequent that I even talk about my birthday, but, since Mom's Christmas list is still hanging up in the kitchen, not done.
Mostly
done. Did you
done.
see this?
I did.
It's a sweatshirt. It says, I'm fine. And half of it looks like, it looks like, okay, one half looks like it's like torn, tattered. I don't know if it's supposed to look like dirt.
Blood and
then
dirt.
the other half is blood.
Yeah. Yep.
The other half is blood. So this is like an off-white with some markings that are trying to make it look, I'm going to guess, like dirt, like buried.
Yeah, it's like the survivor. It's something that looks like the survivor of a tragic farming accident would be wearing.
That caught my attention.
Yep.
Made me laugh out loud.
I've seen various versions of that.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Mhm.
Yeah, that could be fun. I wouldn't wear that to work. I wouldn't wear that on my, Hoodie Friday.
That would
but
that's not your professional attire.
no.
I don't know. You wear a sharp skirt and some decent shoes.
Yeah, no.
Pull it off.
No. I don't even wear that on the average day. Normally, though, on Fridays, I call it my casual Fridays. I wear hoodies. I try to keep it, simple. Like, I don't have a lot of sports hoodies, but, yeah.
You got a few.
I got a few,
Yeah.
but, some college hoodies.
Mm-hmm.
Just keep rotating through.
Yeah, well, you've gone to a couple of schools, so
That's pretty fun. That's a fun one. I just couldn't wear
Sure.
that one. So we shall transition. I picked the topic today. You said you didn't really have one.
No, not offhand.
I had this come up a few times with some clients, and of course, it was a little bit more popular before Christmas. So I started with some new clients recently, and then there was just even my ones I've had for a while. A certain topic would come up. Actually, it's a couple topics, but authenticity, and then forcing yourself into relationships. And even that, with that said, in particular, family relationships.
Sure.
Like, why are you forcing yourself to spend time with and be completely fake around people consistently in your life that you do not agree with, you do not like, you can barely say you tolerate, cause yourself all kinds of distress because they're your family?
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of comes from different places that we've talked about in different ways. The mentality that, well, you're like your ham story, right? Why did you cut off the ends of the ham? And that you think that there's a purpose when it turns out it's just because, 3 generations ago.
Yeah, 3 generations ago.
Tried to make it fit in the pan.
Yeah, 3 generations ago it was necessary and hasn't been necessary since, but it was such an ingrained habit that it just stuck around.
For generations.
Yep.
This came up in a few different ways, so I thought, why not? Kind of worth talking about, right? It could go a lot of different ways.
Sure.
A lot of different angles. But, and the clients in particular, there were other aspects to it that needed to be discussed. But clearly, forcing the relationship was causing a lot of distress. And then there were other clients that might have had that, but other things that would come down to authenticity. But both topics, if you're following me, are a lack of authenticity. Whether or not you're just not living as you should, speaking as you should, acting as you should, that isn't you. I'm not talking about just inappropriateness. Words are hard today. I've already said I'm not really with it, but this is you all hearing me when I'm not with it. Authenticity, it's just a buzzword, right? It's not actually, I think, taken for the seriousness in somebody's mental and emotional health that it should and could be. Live your best life and the YOLO, and we've talked about those things in different ways, but I'll be real that in my own life, my own family, I do not speak to my siblings. That was an active choice that I made specifically after my father passed away. I have never, and I am 45, okay? Dad's been gone, 8 years now? 8 years now.
Yeah,
just over 8
like
years.
I think I just hit 7 years at my current job, so.
It was just, so we left a year after that. So 8 years that I have made the active choice to specifically not speak to my sister. My brother, that choice was made before that, but it's been upheld. And yes, of course, I told them both that our father had passed, and we had conversation brief after that. We've seen one another at family gatherings.
Yes.
It's not that I have avoided family gatherings, avoided anywhere that they would be, nothing like that. Not that we've had a lot of those opportunities anyway, But of course, given the recent funerals, I did see them
Yeah.
both at our uncle's funeral.
Mm-hmm. I remember.
I say this, and I'm giving all this background in this way to let you know, yes, I have made that choice. I am a grown adult that's made that choice, but never in all of my life could I tell you that I've really gotten along well with my sister. Ever. And the older I got, even in my teen years, realizing that my mother had expectations for wanting me to continue to have relationship with my sister when I did not want her in my wedding. We got married. I was 18.
Yep.
I did not want her in my wedding. My mother guilted me into it. And my mother had a PhD in many things, among them guilt. We've never gotten along. It's even when we were younger, barely civil, a lot of fighting, a lot of,
Oh, yeah.
and my aunt has some crazy stories. And my grandmother did too. My father's mother, of some of the behaviors. And my father's mother, my grandmother, had those stories because she was there. They were there every summer when I was growing up. There were snowbirds. They'd go to Texas every winter. They'd be with us every summer. And they saw a lot of things and helped babysit us when we were little. So, yeah, my grandma had some stories even when I got older of how awful my sister could be. Creating the more work to do. Like we had chores to do. She would refuse to do them. She'd do them crappy. They'd have to be done before you could, have fun, do whatever. So somebody'd end up doing them anyway. Going behind me and ruining the things I had done. That kind of stuff. Things I somewhat remembered, but definitely heard some things over the years. And especially after my parents have died. When I did have the familial support and understanding of why I was making the choice I was, but it's not as if she's reached out a whole lot herself.
Sure.
She kind of cut everybody else out. As our children got older, I let them make their decision on how they wanted to try to communicate with her. She eventually cut them out. And then I don't know when she decided to change that, but then did. I then did eventually, like bring them back into her social media, whatever. But I say all that to say I have made those choices, and I can't always speak all of the details and things when I'm with a client, but I do know how hard that can be because it's stuck in our heads forever, right? That family matters, family first. But you know what? I've got plenty of people in my life that we do not share blood that are my family, that have got my back, that don't treat me like crap, that don't manipulate me, that are good people you can have conversations with. You don't have to agree on everything, which is another one of those misconceptions.
Yep.
And I've recently had that discussion with other family that I'm close with.
Sure.
You know, that where did we ever get this idea that we all just have to? You just have to.
No.
It's not biblical. And I have had clients say to me, well, what about this 7 times 70?
It doesn't make any dang sense. Yeah, well...
I'm like, okay, but that's not what that means, right?
It doesn't literally mean you keep track at 490. It means you forgive so many times that you forget how many it is.
But that's just it. Yeah. Where does it say anywhere, and I'm not a theologian, right, but I've studied this enough, where does it say that because you share blood with somebody, that you're supposed to be continually, emotionally, mentally, or even physically abused by an individual?
In fact,
for your life.
One of the most misquoted scriptures out there is blood is thicker than water. And it's like, that's paraphrasing and taking out of context what it's saying. And I'm going to guarantee I'm not reciting this exactly perfect. I could probably look it up real quick, but it's the blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb, which means the family you make is more important than the family you're born into.
I mean, it was like to me. It meant within the Church of Jesus Christ, the individuals, like they are your family, your church family.
There are. It's
a different. Under the covenant, right? That connection.
In a big chunk of that, they're talking about. Part of that is there's when you get married, your old family doesn't exist, and you created a new one.
There's also that.
There's also there's kind of the context. It's implicit, not explicit. When soldiers fight together against a common foe, you spill blood together. It's like those brothers are brothers you built, and in many ways they're closer to you than anybody anybody in the family that you were born into. And sometimes those fights are more metaphorical. Hopefully it's within people within your church that you band together and you fight the good fight together. Other times it's just in life, the people that you hold on to, who drag each other through the fire and survive. Those people become your family. Not to say that your family isn't family, but there's a time. The happenstance of your birth does not define your value to those people. Like, yeah, it's like it's like, okay, I've got my my siblings as well, and one haven't had any real contact with in a really, really long time.
Which one? Oh, the one that you have a similar situation with.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. My middle sister.
Say, because you're the oldest.
I'm the oldest of many. I have a lot of half siblings.
Sure, but we're going to talk about the two that you were raised with.
My youngest, it's like we just, I chat with her online once in a while. We don't see each other. We haven't seen each other in a long time. She lives in Kentucky. We went and visited her a while back. Yeah, anyway. But so we got along just fine. We have different lives and we're different places, and it's like we were close, but we're not like that close. I mean, if I could help and she needed help, I would definitely help her without thinking twice about it. But there's not much I can do from where we're at. Anyway, but I make a point of cutting people out of my life that are massively self-centered, because I just don't have I don't have the energy to deal with that. Which, it's like, I'm not one for histrionics. I'm not one for just melodramatic crap and selfishness.
Which is my sister.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
and so it's like, I had my own, I had my own turning points with my one sister, and it actually started at Christmas, but that's
not this last one.
No,
that was many years ago, but it was Christmas time.
1992. I could specifically.
She literally just didn't get the gift she wanted. And,
no.
Had a massive fit.
No. It was, well, yes. This is true. This is true. This was, the Bulls were on their big run. Bulls were kind of like the biggest team in the NBA. If you hear the dog, don't mind her.
She's just doing her thing.
Yeah.
Pay attention to me.
Yeah. Yes. She's so neglected. She only spent 10 hours attached to me while we were trying to do anything today. Anyway, specifically, she wanted a Bulls starter jacket. And the one she wanted was like a $300 Letterman style starter jacket. That's not going to happen. I mean, I was on active duty at the time at training in Georgia. It's like I didn't have that kind of money for something like that. But I had money and no expenses, so I wanted to do something nice. So I got her $100, which doesn't seem like that much now, but in 1992, that was a lot of money. I got her the $100 starter Bulls jacket. And she opened it up Christmas morning, pulled it out, looked at it. That's not the one I wanted. Oh, okay. And I looked at her and I told her, it's like, that is the last gift you will ever get from me. And that was the last gift she has gotten from me. And there's been a couple of times where I've got.
But there were things that.
There was a lot of stuff that led up to it. But that was like the.
I'm not going to get into all the things.
Yeah, that was the.
It's not just a one
You
incident.
are, how are you that selfish? No, that was kind of like the last straw. I grew up. I was like, to be completely honest, we grew up broke. You grew up broke. And I learned to be very grateful for the things that I had because there was sacrifice involved in getting me anything nice that I had. I still have my Optimus Prime from 1985. It's broken and worn out, but he's in his box and he's in the attic. Anyway, I appreciated that like you would not believe. I still do. Because at the time, that was an expensive gift. And my parents had to go through a lot to pull that off. Like, I learned to be very appreciative, and nothing was good enough. She thought she deserved more, even though she was never going to do anything to deserve more. Life owed her. But, yeah, anyway. And our sibling situations are very similar in that
Very similar.
In that respect.
My
different.
Yes.
Yeah.
Again, I had many years that led up to my decision. Many well
years.
into adulthood.
Yep.
For my sister and my brother as well. It's not quite the same with him. He had left the area many years prior, and there was just a lot of situation there between him and our parents.
I'm guessing fall of 92?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Sorry. It's the year we graduated high school.
But you just dated yourself so old. Anyway.
And?
That wasn't an easy choice. To be very clear. Even though we were different people, and I always tried for my mother's sake, before I really knew any better.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what it takes. It takes knowing better and being willing to do it different and accepting that it's okay. And that's most of the people that I talk with it's the struggle, right? It's, but I'm expected to. And I'm talking all ages. Well, all ages of client. Sure. I mean, I was talking with somebody yesterday. I believe she's in her late 50s, early 60s. And this woman has issues with her sister-in-law, I think it is. Sister-in-law. And it just, and she's been married decades. Mm-hmm. Putting up with the crap.
Well,
why?
There is something to be said. It's like people are going to bother you. I don't care who they are, what they are. Your best friend's going to piss you off on occasion. And I've mentioned before, we go and visit members of my family for big family stuff,
Yes.
Holidays and kids' birthdays and stuff like that. And politically, we don't get along. Philosophically, we're very different. And there's something to be said for, we're just going to let that slide for the sake of peace.
They do go out of their way to be respectful.
Yes.
I will say that.
And vice versa. I try not, I've had my moments, of course, and they've had their moments. And we can agree, it's okay. We disagree. It's okay. We disagree. But we still care about you. We still want you, what's best for you. We just, for the sake of peace, let certain things slide. And I think they do too. And I think that's where it's like you've got everybody, we're both agreeing. It's like, okay, there's certain things we're just going to happen. We're going to let that go. We're not going to make a big deal out of that for the sake of the peace of everybody. And then when we separate, we go, can you believe what that person just said? Oh my gosh, but that's,
sure they do.
I guarantee, sure. It's when the problem arises when one person isn't doing it, isn't playing that game. It's like everybody dials it back a little bit. Oh no, there's that one person that's always just horrible all the time, and everybody else is expected to suck it up. It's like, nope, sorry, no, we have a problem. That's where I think we have that. Well, and anyway.
So we don't have, I don't know, I think that's managed. I think that...
He divorced her.
Say, okay. Yeah, we're not going into detail about any of that.
No.
But...
No. Well, it's just, sometimes people just say stuff and it slips. It's like things come out that you don't intend. It's like, things come out and it's like there was no offense intended. It just kind of came out. And a normal person was like, okay, all right, yeah, all right. It's like, yeah, I'm sorry. Didn't mean to say that like that. My apologies. Okay, everything's cool. It's like, but when that's all there is, oh, I was just kidding. No, you weren't kidding. You were being a disrespectful pain. You were doing it intentionally to demean, belittle, defame me or somebody else. That's not a mistake. That's you being a pain.
I recently found out, and there's this is my family, my extended family. There's a chat, right, that I'm involved with, and it's usually just crappy memes, like whatever.
Sure.
Most of them aren't even funny. Whatever. But then a political statement was made just prior to the inauguration.
Uh-huh.
And I didn't think a lot of it, wasn't shocked. But then I found out this week that apparently there's another chat that I am not part of where more was said, where they go off more about our now President Trump.
Sure.
You know, I haven't been on Facebook in months. I
Sure.
mean, it was getting rough about September.
Oh, yeah.
I was so over it.
Very quickly.
So over it. And I don't really say much nowadays anyway.
No,
just
try
for
not
my
to.
own personal and professional reasons. I just don't.
Well, and let's be honest. It's not like you're going to have intelligent discourse in that medium.
Well, it doesn't matter how well you try to lock down your social media, which I have. I've done all the things that are suggested. People still try to look up stuff.
Oh, yeah.
They just do.
And again,
And that's
it's
fine.
like there are certain there's just certain mediums that it's good for sharing a thought or giving a notification, but that's about it. If you're trying to talk about any kind of complex issue, that's not the way you do it.
And I still see where we have extended family or friends that put up things that I'm not necessarily going to agree with. The reason but I bring that around to the family and the authenticity and the tolerance, right? That's another buzzword.
Yeah, I don't like that word, but yeah.
To find out that I'm not part of a certain chat because apparently they just know that I don't always agree and they don't want to be disrespectful.
No,
right?
No, sorry, that's not what they're doing.
Like that's not really what that is, but
No.
that's really cute of you to try to.
No.
And I think she believed it, the one that told me about it. I
Yeah.
think she does believe that to a degree. And I just laughed and I said, it doesn't matter.
No.
Because since when have my feelings ever counted?
Yep.
Like, since when?
Yeah,
Really?
it's like, I'm sorry.
Since I cut her out too? Yeah. I'm a little too old for this garbage.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, I'm at a different place in life. I've been hosed over way too many times.
Oh, sure.
Way too many times. By way too many people that I thought were actually they would never be the people to do that. Friends and family, close friends and family.
Yes.
And you know what? It doesn't matter their relationship. It does happen. It can happen.
Unfortunately, that is the case. And, I'll be the first one to tell you I've screwed up. I've messed up. I have my days. I have my errors. I have my flaws.
Sure.
And I've ticked you off on a number of occasions. But if that was all I ever did, we'd have a problem. And if I didn't try and grow from the experience, we would have a problem.
I prefer to have conversation with individuals that I'm at least allowed to disagree with.
Yeah, and
we do not have to agree on everything.
No.
And this is what we're teaching our daughters right now.
Yeah.
To be in the future relationships that they're going to have of any kind.
Oh, yeah.
You do not have to agree.
There are fundamental things that you want to... The closer the relationship is, there's certain foundational fundamental things...
Of course.
...that need to be in agreement.
But it's that intimacy right there. Right there. Like, when you're actually in a place where you want to be close with that individual and depending on the role they have in your life, that's when those things should matter.
See, and I think one of the reasons why both of our girls are... They just, it's just hard for me to be, it's like in these groups and whatnot.
Honest.
It's because we've striven very hard to make sure that the only person that they are is themselves. Never asked them to, well, okay, play nice. It's like, okay, we'll warn them. It's like, this is going to be a bad topic to talk about. You might want to avoid it. But for the most part, it's like, just be yourself. Be who you are. If you're into the goofy crap, then you tell people you're into the goofy crap. But don't have this pretense that you're somebody that you're not.
Learning tactfulness is different than shutting yourself down perpetually and not allowing yourself to have an opinion or even a voice in a conversation. There is a difference.
Yes, there ends. That's a tricky line sometimes, but I mean, we all adapt to the situation that we're currently in. Whether you change your speech patterns for one group compared to another group, compared to just being at home with your family. When you're at work, you're a slightly different person than when you're. And it's because there's requirements for the job, or there's requirements for the situation. You want to be effective in those. So but you still need to be yourself. Like that authenticity thing. It's like, if you can't be who you are, of course, there's kind of a flip side to that. If you don't feel like who you think you are, I really hate think and feel as qualifiers. It's unprincipled. However, it's like, if you don't think that you're free to be who you are with this group, I think you need to ask the question, why? Is it because you aren't comfortable with that? Like the alcoholic, let's just say alcoholic, drug use. No, let's take it a little further. You're a drug user and you don't let these people know about it. You can't be your free, authentic self, because your authentic self is a drug abuser.
Say because you're hiding in addiction, most likely.
Well, yes. Well, in that case, your authentic self is what needs help.
Of course. And how did they get there? Probably because they never felt like they had a voice. Because they're struggling with who they are. I would say, things that they've experienced. Yes.
I would not disagree with that.
That is typical.
However,
I am not an addiction specialist, but that is typical.
It is typical. This is kind of a little bit of a rabbit trail.
I'll let you go a little ways.
It was a study that they did a while ago. Long time ago, but it's held up through much scrutiny. It's been duplicated many, many times. They had mice, or it might have been rats, but rodents of some form, and they had regular water bottle and a water bottle with drugs in it, and they had free access to both. And I don't remember if it was like cocaine or heroin or whatever. If the mice were isolated and by themselves, eventually the only thing that they would stop eating, they would stop doing stuff, and they just drink the stuff until they died of an overdose. They drink the drug stuff. But if there was healthy relationships and familial organization and effectively friendships, if they were plugged into society, they all there was none of them that were addicted. They left the drug water alone.
Interesting.
So there's a lot to be said for the real cure for drug addiction has nothing to do with the drugs. It has everything to do with being connected to somebody to the extent that you don't feel the need to bury it. A lot of times a lot of addictions, you're looking, how was that put? I forget. The drugs and alcohol aren't the problem. They were a solution for a part of the problem.
Okay. And now I'll let you come back.
It's like if you...
Yes. I don't want to get heavy into what you're saying.
They fill the emptiness, and if you fill that emptiness with something that's actually designed to fill it, you don't need that...
The healthier...
Yeah.
Item or the different coping mechanism or dealing with the issue that's causing you to go to the drugs to begin with.
It's a lot of times it comes down to relationship.
It can.
You need those relationships, those friends, that family that you can.
And then now I'll bring it back around. when you stick yourself in the unhealthy for so long, that's going to become okay, right? Because that's it's
to a point,
and it's not. It's not okay.
No, there are certain things where I would say, okay, nobody's perfect. Everybody's a work in progress.
Of course,
some people are just further down the journey than others, and some people are heading in the wrong direction. And so there's something to be said. It's like, you should be yourself. The problem is some people are so messed up that the person that they have created isn't who they really are and who they were meant to be.
And again, that's kind of a whole other conversation
That's
too.
a whole other conversation. So
I don't disagree with you.
So I think the real thing is, like, you need to be where you can express yourself safely, so you can figure out who your authentic self really is.
And safety. Now there we go. There's part of that too. This was part of that conversation I had with that family member this week. It's the safety aspect. When I was stuck in this mindset for a very long time that it was basically okay to be talked over, kind of bullied, or how do you want to put it? I don't have a good word in the moment, but like bullied into your own silence, right? Like, I know that I'm just never going to agree, so I'm just going to keep my mouth shut and just kind of do what I need to do. Well, that was my mentality, right? I was just supposed to make mom happy. I was just supposed to do what I needed to do because family. Mm-hmm. I was just supposed, because I was so close to my cousin at one point.
Yeah.
Yep, I'm just going to let you constantly berate my opinion and tell me how wrong I am and all the things, right? And I did it for so long that it was just normal, right? And even about the big stuff. Then life happened. And my chronic illness was what it was.
Yep.
And certain life experiences came.
Yep.
And, well, you're just never going to be any better, so I don't know why you want to bother trying. And that's kind of when my brain started rattling a little bit, like, I don't really think I can hear this anymore. You can only hear that so many times. Like, I don't think that's what I can really do anymore.
No.
But this was after my mother had passed.
Yes.
That influence was very strong, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was very close to my mother. And if it wasn't for some of the conversations I was able to have with her, even in the last year of her life, very real, honest conversations about some of her family drama, that she was aware of how bad it was. She didn't like it. She was just asking me to try to put up with it, basically.
Well, and see, the thing is, there's
because nothing could be done about it anyway.
Bull crap.
Yeah.
Bull crap.
That wasn't quite.
That's not how that works.
I want to share something real quick though. This is there's a couple things, but if this will kind of tell you, so there was a point, and I don't remember the class that it was actually off the top of my head. It's called a geniogram that I had to do, and it was a humongous project within the class. He's staring at Dory, our dog, like ripping apart her stuffy. I don't know.
I can hear it.
You can hear it.
I can hear her
it's very
teeth
loud.
Squeaking against the fur.
Probably been able to hear it. She's just kind of in one of her moods. Anyway.
That's her dog.
This would have been the fall between the passing of my mother's mother and my mother. So my grandmother passed away in September. My mother would have passed away in April. I was in this class that fall, and it was, I cannot think of the name of the class off the top of my head. It's like family structures or something. Anyway, a geniogram is a tool that can be used to kind of track and trace who's in the family and the roles that they play in different aspects. And it's literally like a giant chart. And
It was a red book with white symbology on it.
Yeah. You remember? Yeah.
I do.
So my mother, I mean, she was going through some stuff that fall, but she would only give me so much information. And I had like a 30-page paper to write. And I had this giant chart I needed to create that had all kinds of information I needed to gather about each individual. And it would go back, I don't remember how many generations. I think 2. I think it was 2. But so a lot of info there. And she had a hard time giving it to me. She had a really hard time answering the questions and talking about the stuff. Really hard. To the point where she'd had me like go to my aunt. She wanted me to go to her sister, who is the aunt that I am closest with, whose husband passed away recently. My mother had trouble processing a lot of the drama and issues in her family. And that created her. That created her mentality to, you just, then the generation that you just don't talk about it. That was the generation, say it's not really the last one, because that mentality is still out there, that you just don't talk about it. But that was like the full on, she wouldn't give me details about any of the things, because it would also have made her actually talk about it and process it. So she wouldn't do it. My father would also not do it. Yeah, and because my mother told me to go to her sister, he told me to go to his sister. It was ridiculous. It was the most ridiculous thing ever. Like, my parents will not talk about anything. Anything. Because that would have made them face and deal with stuff. But that was that time frame that my mother was honest with me about the things that were at least happening in her home when my sister lived with her.
Yes.
And her husband and child. So that would have overloaded my mother to have to talk about her life.
Yeah.
And I did not see that at the time. I was annoyed. I was like, you got to be kidding. I was trying to see for the grief that she was going through with the loss of her mother and her brother. And maybe she just really was, struggling with it. But it took me a little bit.
She just didn't. Yeah, she did not.
It took me a little bit to figure it out.
Yeah.
She didn't do real at all, ever.
No.
Ever. So why then would have I expected her to have actually tried to be honest and understanding with me about the feelings I had about my siblings? She didn't. She wouldn't, and she didn't live to ever do it.
No.
Sort of, kind of at the end, not really with my brother, but I think that was more for us than for her. But when she did not want to tell her own son that she was dying.
No.
And we all honored that.
Yep.
And then what did my dad do for my sister? The exact same thing. He didn't want anything to do with my brother, but didn't want me to tell my sister. He didn't want her to know all the details. She could know he wasn't doing well. And I said, that's crap. You're going to tell her you have a few weeks left. Well, I wasn't there when she came to talk to him, so I don't know what he told her. Nope. But she sure was surprised a week later when he passed away. Mm-hmm. So I should have known he wouldn't do it. But he wanted to be the one to do it. He said he'd do it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so not my fault that he didn't. No. So thank you for letting me kind of go there.
No, you're good.
Right?
You're good.
This was decades. This was a lifetime of things that led to the choice I made. And just this last Christmas, just before Christmas, my aunt, whose husband had passed, I talked to her about coming to visit, and she had told me she'd heard from my sister for the first time since just after my mother had passed.
Yeah, long time.
Because she cut out my aunt. She cut out everyone.
Yes, she did.
And there were reasons. There were things that had happened. There was all drama. It was all just blown out drama.
Pretty much, yeah. That's what she does.
But everybody let her have it and move on. And move on. And I was not sorry for it. And my aunt had asked me to consider, because my sister was claimed to be different. Claimed to have started therapy.
Which I hope she did.
And be different.
Which I hope.
And I hope she did.
Yeah.
But then the next day, literally the next day, Christmas Eve, our youngest daughter shows me a post. I don't remember which platform it was on. Mm-hmm. Where she outright called me an obnoxious, I'm going to swear, head. Obnoxious head. Well, not my name, but the context of what she was saying named me.
Well, it's not like she's got she's got one sister and one brother. It's kind of hard to, yeah.
And I thought, you know what? I'm really sorry that I just put 24, 30 hours of thought into the mere idea of thinking she had changed and being willing to tried to contact her.
Mm-hmm.
And why was I obnoxious head? Like something to do with like how she was obnoxious and I was obnoxious and we were all just obnoxious. Well, no, actually, it's been a kindness for me to not actually tell you all of my reasons and things. And that's kind of, sorry, what are you doing?
Nothing, just writing something down.
Sorry. This is what he does. He distracts me. He reaches and he looks at me and I'm like, what are we doing? Anyway,
I just needed a notepad.
I haven't told her all the things. And if she couldn't figure it out, I mean, my goodness, she should have been able to. There was a lot of drama there for a while. But the kindness of not, the silence that I have had, and I will continue to have, because I had said, unless the audible voice of God tells me, I'm good. I'm good. I have made those decisions and lived through those things. And so when I am looking at a client that's facing it, they call that transference, right? You don't want to transfer your thoughts and feelings onto the client.
No.
I think I do good with not. And I share when appropriate, but this is definitely not something that I've shared. All I will say is I have my own family drama. We all do. We experience it. And, you know, people will chuckle and we'll just keep talking, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like every family's got the somebody and we just leave it there. Well, of course it's perspective, right? Because maybe according to my siblings, I'm the somebody. Maybe.
Sure.
I wasn't the one asking for stuff and money the day after our dad died, but
Nope.
you know, they both did.
Nope.
So, it wasn't easy. It's still not easy. It actually makes me sad. Even that cousin that I was close with, it makes me sad. But when nothing about it was authentic, nothing about the relationship with my sister was ever authentic and wouldn't be now because she wouldn't be able to handle this. She couldn't handle that. She couldn't handle this.
No.
And that cousin, I don't know what disorder she's just full-blown walked into. I've talked about it with our family, and we all believe there's definitely something going on there. I did try to talk to her about it 2 years ago, and unfortunately didn't go anywhere. I believe actually almost 3 years ago now. It'll be 3 years in April that I did try to talk to her. And unfortunately, it didn't go anywhere. But as hard as those decisions might be, you have to look at the benefit, the purpose and the benefit from it. And when you say cut people out of your life, that's by definition, that's different to every person, right? It's subjective. Yeah. That's subjective.
Well, and if you really, to be fair, it's not like we called them up and said, stay out of our lives. And, we found out that you're going to be there, so we're not going. This was, we just effectively stopped initiating contact.
Well, she moved out of the home after my mother had passed.
Sure.
She was never there when we were trying to pack up my dad's things.
Nope.
Whenever she would come to visit our father, I was the executor of his money. He would make sure that I would send her money or make sure he had money to give her for gas money or car rental or whatever it is that she needed to come see him. And then,
yeah, but I mean,
you know, it was just kind of a given at that point that I would not be there when she was there.
Well, it's like I've been there the whole time. So, from 14 years old on, I've been there.
You have. I know you've been there a minute.
And it was like we cut contact, but what we really did was we stopped initiating contact, and they don't bother.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is pretty much all it comes down to is like
you know how to find me.
I'm not looking. It's like we have the same phone numbers that we had 20 freaking years ago.
You have our daughters on social media.
I have the same email that I've had from the same time frame.
And Google says all kinds of scary stuff about people.
I still have the same Google address that I've had from the time back when Gmail required an invitation from somebody that was already on Gmail in order to start a Gmail
It's
account.
pretty old.
I've had an email account through Google since then.
It's been pretty old.
So none of that crap's changed. If they wanted to make contact, it's all right there. Neither one of us, we didn't want the ridiculous, childish
I don't want
drama.
the stuff. And I advocate to my clients 100% to look at the purpose. I'm not talking about, I don't advocate for malicious intent. That's not what I'm saying.
No.
It's, if you are literally so upset, wound up about this relationship that you're sick, like physically ill, and it's on your mind all the time, it's become a full-blown mental disorder for you. Your circumstances, your symptoms.
There is no situation that warrants your
Why?
intentionally sticking around to be disrespected.
Why?
I mean,
The Bible doesn't say it?
no.
I know it's this weird social construct that we've all kind of created, like, oh, family, no matter what.
No.
Life is not a sitcom.
No.
It's not a Hallmark movie. I don't know where my life would fall in the line of movies, but that is not it.
A horror comedy? I'm not sure.
It's not. Do I miss the closeness I had with my cousin? Yes, very much. I cycle around that grief.
The thing is, I don't think she's capable.
I don't think she is
Honestly.
anymore.
Yeah.
No, she's not anymore. I did see her last summer, and it was
She
fine, but it was also telling.
She had a bend to her before, and then when COVID happened, it broke her.
That's true.
The lockdowns broke her.
That's true. I can't disagree. And there's other things there that I'm not going to get into, but that it was a hard line to draw, right? For me.
Yeah.
I'm not going to just put up with whatever. I am going to question you, and you're not going to like it. Period. Why did you go on a cruise when your dying brother was in the hospital?
Well,
like, I know
because
some
I didn't
of the,
get the insurance.
because I didn't pay for insurance. That was it. Because she couldn't get her money back. Like, I know there's so much more to it than that. I know that.
Yes.
I knew that then. I sure know that now. But I just couldn't make myself look past it for what it was.
No.
Like, that was it. I have been hearing a lot of the, how messed up I am and why didn't I just give up on life? I just been hearing that too long at the same time. And I just couldn't do it anymore.
Nope.
And it was very freeing and very sad at the same time. But that's where I kind of say, in relationship, it doesn't even matter who they are to you. This did happen to be a blood relative. I feel like I'm in a stage in my life where I've had a lot of loss, very significant friendships and significant changes, and I don't have a big circle as it is.
No.
So the more ill I became, the less I put myself out there, because you don't want to invite somebody into this life. And I was having a hard enough time dealing with my family, right? My family's opinions and thoughts. And there were some in-laws that have been supportive, and some have had comments. And there was just a lot that you kind of shut down. You shut down from really wanting to get to know other people. I made those choices, right? And that's where I have come to the stance where I am now, that I can get to know people and I have healthier boundaries and a healthier perspective about all of it. But when it comes to the authenticity, that's very important to me. I do want to be able to be real. And I choose when and how to have the honesty about my situation for my health. Because I used to be ashamed of it and afraid of it and hate it. And I was wrapped up in it in my head that way. And now it's just like, it's going to look weird sometimes. It looked weird earlier today, but I was at home. Yeah. And it happened to me in front of a client just last week. It happened in front of a client. It doesn't happen often, where it's just, my face just doesn't want to move. Where the pain just shoots and gets hard, and it just, I struggled for a minute, but I carried on with the session and I was okay.
Mm-hmm.
All those fears that I had to figure out how to manage. So I sure am not going to return to any relationship that is going to make me feel bad about anything, about myself,
No.
about what I'm dealing with.
No, and
Absolutely not.
yeah, there is something to be said for, like, okay, one should be circumspect.
Respectful and tactful.
Well, there's things that don't need to be said,
Sure.
so don't say them.
And
There's
you
topics that
learn
don't
to
need
read that.
There's topics that don't need to be broached because it's going to end poorly. That conversation's not going to go well. And fair enough. There's some people you just don't bring certain things up to.
That's called surface conversation.
Well, there's
You can't go deep with somebody just in conversation.
no there. Well, in most cases you don't need to, and you probably shouldn't be. But there are those relationships where it's like there's one thing to be. You're just like, okay, this is not a good topic to bring up with this
But
individual.
you say family, most people think you should be able to go into depth. That's not always the case.
No, just because you're
does not.
just because you're technically related to them doesn't mean that they're trustworthy. Because they're people. You need trustworthy, and it's like, and that is one thing. That's like, okay, this part of my life is not for their. It's like that they don't need to see that. That's not a part of my life that I'm going to share with them. That's one thing. It's another to be ridiculed, disrespected, demeaned because of who you are.
Say,
what
we're
you
family.
We're family. It's like, no, you don't get to talk bad about me because we're related. Now, okay, admittedly, I've got cousins and we rip on each. I got cousins, I got friends, and we rip on each other. That's lighthearted goofing around.
Absolutely.
That's one thing. And to an outside observer, that it was absolutely horrible. How can you? It's like, no. He gets as much as he gives. It's like, so it's another when it's, oh no, they bash on you constantly. They talk bad about you behind your back and to your face. And God forbid that you say anything in defense of yourself, because then you're the bad guy. It's like, no, that right there, get yourself out of that situation immediately. You don't need to be there. So you're going to talk crap about me. You can talk crap about me when I'm not around, because I'm not going to be around. And it's because of you. And don't ever question anybody says, well, maybe there's no, it's you. It's you. It's always you. You, period. You're a piece of crap.
Wow.
I'm not going to be around you anymore. It's like that's an active cutting you out. It's like sometimes you just like, as long as they're there, I'm not going to be. Done. It's like, you let them talk to me like that. You let them treat me like that.
We had some of
So
those
we're done.
We had some of those situations
We're
too.
done. We're just done. No, we're not playing that
Yeah.
game anymore. You don't get to talk. You do not get to treat me poorly. I don't treat you poorly. I don't talk crap about you.
We had some of those
We're
situations.
done. We're just nope. Mm-mm. And I'm the bad guy. You treat me like crap, and I don't like it, so I leave, and I'm the bad guy. Oh, that's not how that works.
You have a better memory for some of the stuff than I do, but I do recall that situation where my sister had a friend come for a holiday, and then that friend was saying demeaning things to both of us.
And the thing is,
And rude things.
and
And we were supposed to just sit there
well, and the
and
thing was,
take it.
I didn't hear 90% of anything that came out of his mouth. I was on the other side of the table, and it's like I couldn't hear. And you're looking at me like, I don't. Okay, what did I miss?
And back in the day,
I obviously missed something.
when it was just take it, just deal with it, because no drama. We don't
Yeah.
want to cause waves.
Yeah,
We don't want to make her upset.
Like,
So my mother literally expected me to just sit there and deal with it and take it,
Yeah, no.
because
No.
it was a holiday. I don't even remember. I think it was Thanksgiving.
It was Thanksgiving,
and
and it was Thanksgiving after the wedding.
after the wedding.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, after your sister's wedding,
And I
And-
just,
and-
I did.
and
I did.
Yeah, and you did, and
I
you
did.
what it really came down to, she didn't know what the heck she was talking about.
And we weren't
And she
allowed
was
to have
talk-
an opinion.
And she was talking crap. Well, no, as I recall, one of her bridesmaids was making fun of her during the wedding, saying stuff to you, and you laughed. And
Yes, I
somehow
did.
that made you the bad guy. You were saying stuff. It's like,
No,
yeah,
I didn't say
no,
anything. I laughed.
that was your friend.
That's your
Everything that
friend.
you just said that I did, that wasn't me.
Who
That was
were
her.
saying things. And
That
I don't
was
even
her.
remember
So,
specifics.
You know,
I'm going to be real.
I don't remember.
It's
and
been
it
a
was
long
like,
time.
Well, I just remember you. So you gonna let him talk to me like that? It's like I have no idea what you're talking about. I didn't hear anything of what this dude's.
I remember
apparently
being
saying.
angry and shocked, and I could not believe that my mother just expected me. And when my mother heard some of these comments, just expected us to stay, though I told her I wanted to leave. She said no. I was supposed to just do my best to ignore it because it was Thanksgiving.
Yeah. No. I'm sorry. There's a point. It's like, no. You know what? No. Obviously, she's your favorite, and I don't need to be here for this.
I was still in a fog, man. I
Yeah.
still didn't know.
Well, you know,
I still didn't know that wasn't supposed to be okay.
You've got to get to a point where you realize, no, it's like this is not worth it. This is.
It didn't take me much longer.
No.
It didn't take
there
me
was
much
there
longer.
was there was stuff. There were things, and there was stuff, and you know.
And
it's-
when you get to
you're-
further in life,
Yeah.
further in life, when a pastor stabs you in the back,
Mhm.
huh? Yeah, of all the people that are supposed to not, that was.
Yeah.
If I hadn't been at a better place as I was, better enough for all that I was going through in my life, and the decisions I'd made, and knowing my whys and being okay with it, and knowing that God was with me in those decisions because it was about being better for Him, and that was going to take change and sacrifice. If I wasn't already in that process, I would have taken that situation very hard and differently. Not that it was easy, because it wasn't. And we just finally tried a different church last week. Like we tried a different church over the summer. It wasn't quite the right one. We were blessed to have their support, and
Yes.
they were very kind people.
Great church.
It just wasn't right.
Yep.
And then we had to take a little bit. Like,
Mhm.
okay, maybe we just need a minute. But to go back again to a church that is affiliated, right, with the hardship, we had to make a choice. Like, are we ready? Are we ready to do that? It's a lingering feeling. I bring that up to say it really is relationship. It's any relationship that could go sideways, right?
Yeah.
It's not just this idea and that authenticity part of this conversation.
You have to have that. You know,
You
I
gotta
can put
know
up- I
who
can
you
put up with some
are.
crap, you know,
You
it's
gotta
like-
know who you are to stand up for who you are.
Yeah, and you need to. If you don't have a limit, yeah, it's like this is my boundary. If you respect me, you will respect the boundary. If you care about me, you will respect that boundary. You can it's like you might question it. Say, hey, what's up with that? But somebody that cares about you, somebody that's got your best interests at heart, it's like here and no further. They respect that. The people that don't respect that are the people that are trying to take advantage of your. It's like either
And I don't
I'm going to
bring
go
that
beyond that boundary, get what I want because it's about me and not about you.
I don't bring that up for anybody to use the idea that, well, this is why I don't do organized religion. You know what? I understand that. I completely respect that. And it is those types of situations
Sure.
that can put that bitter taste in somebody's mouth.
Yes.
But my point is, you can move forward. You can
Yes.
learn and grow past those types of situations. And it did help us to know better who we were,
Sure.
who we are in Christ, who we are as people on this earth, and to stand for that. But if I hadn't been through the situations I did with friends and family to draw boundaries, I wouldn't have been where I was at that point. And here I am talking about it differently with clients, right? I am the person that they're just kind of bouncing it all off of. And they're looking for guidance. They're looking for ways to process it in healthy ways in their experiences and their hurts. And because I've been through mine, I can hear them where they are and very boldly tell them it is okay to not be okay with however you're being treated, and acknowledging how you feel. And yes, learning to process that differently, even if that makes means hard decisions that have to be made. And I've walked several people through them for different reasons that all kind of came down to the same things. On authenticity and boundaries with family, blood family. Because I don't know where people get that. It's just some romanticized idea that you're just supposed to put up with anything and everything because you're related by blood. And that is so not the case. Absolutely not the case. And that's been on my heart. And I thought I'd toss that out there. I know we could go on for a while and there's so many other things we could talk about with that. But that was on my heart today.
Sure. Cool.
And however a listener would want to judge me for whatever I've said, and I do apologize. Yes, I swore. I quoted what was said about me.
Don't worry. I have the squeaky sound.
Oh, you're right. I'm so sorry. Maybe by
No,
the time you hear this, you'll have heard the squeaky sound.
Yes.
Okay, well.
The squeaky sound that I manufactured by taking your laugh and speeding it up. A lot.
Oh my gosh, look at that toy.
Yeah, that dog has torn that up.
Finished gutting that toy.
Yeah, I took this part from her because it was.
Goodness.
Yeah, she's starting to swallow pieces at this point.
Well, you should probably. Well, I've got a quote indestructible toy coming. We'll see how that works out.
Yeah, it'll last an hour.
We'll see if we have any more in the canister for her. Oh my goodness. Anyway.
Yep.
Thank you for listening to that today. That was on my heart and mind, and we'll see where we go with it next week. So, do you have anything to add?
No, I think I'm good.
Okay, I think I'm good.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. No, you're better than that.
Aw, thanks, baby.
5 points to anybody that can tell me what movie that's from. Anyway.
Nope.
It was one of your mom's favorites.
Oh, nope.
Yep. Good luck with that one.
Thanks. You'll tell me when we're done.
Someday.
Okay.
I might. Considering. Anyway, I'm Fix It.
I'm Feel It.
We hope you join us in the future.
Until next week.
Y'all have a great one.